Hello everyone, my name is Fakhruddin Khambati and welcome to another video in the SQL Quickie series. Today we are going to talk about a topic called normalization. But before we proceed, what is normalization? Let's see. Will you believe me that you're looking at a normalized data on the left side and a non-normalized data on the right side? You see two groups of people attempting to achieve the same results, but one group is obviously more efficient and more effective as compared to another group. So if you understand this image right now, you understand the concept of normalization, I think within 30 seconds. Congratulations. But now, as we understand the concept, let's proceed to the technical aspect of the same. The requirement for this video is to make this very simple table called myCabs with only 6 records, qualify for first normal form. And there are two things that we need to make sure in order to qualify our table for first normal form. The number one thing is we need to break data into small logical pieces, and number two is we need to avoid duplicate data. Don't get lost over here. I'm going to explain you in a proper way. Forget this theory. And let's switch to some practical stuff. Now focus on this particular column called driver route. It has a lot of data in it which is all jumbled up. It is not a properly organized data. If I want to check all the cabs that begin from Mumbai, I'll have to run a query like this, which is not a very optimized way of achieving this result. And hence I'm going to apply the first rule of first normal form over here, which is break the data into small logical units. So how do I achieve that? I just go to my Object Explorer and I click on design on my table, and over here instead of a driver route I'm going to add from and from route and to route. So now if you look at this table, it looks something like this. It has a from root and to root, which is null. So I will go to my cabs. I will say edit top 200 rows and I will mention the correct data over here like this. So what we have done, we have broken down the complicated jumbled up data into two separate columns, into two separate units. So to eliminate any confusion that you may have, I have taken a before and after snapshot of the data that we had in the same table. Look at the driver route all jumbled up and look at how organized it looks over here. This is the first rule of first normal form. So does anyone remember what was the second rule to qualify for the first normal form? Well, it was to avoid duplicate data. Now focus on the column taxi type. There are two problems that can be easily made out by looking at this particular column. There are duplicate entries and the entries are not standard. For example, look at the SUV over here. It's in lowercase and SUV over here is in uppercase. Same is the problem with the sedan entry. So we need to fix this particular column using the second rule of the first normal form. Once again, the second rule is look over here. In order to fix this problem, I need to create a new table that will have only taxi type of data, and I will give a reference of taxi type ID to my myCabs table. Don't get confused, I'll walk you through how it's done. So I'll create new table and I will give the column names over here. I have set taxi ID as primary key and I'm saving this table as taxi type, and I'll say OK. So now I have my table created in which I will have taxi type data, and I'll fill this table with some rows. So now I have filled the table with some rows. I need to give a reference of taxi ID somewhere in my myCabs. But look at the myCabs. The taxi type over here has a varchar value right now, and if I need to give a reference as taxi ID, I cannot use the same column. So I will go to my cabs design and I will delete taxi type and I will enter taxi ID and I'll give it as int data type, and I'm going to save this table. Now I'll go to my database diagram and I will say new database diagram. So once I create a new database diagram, it will give me a list of all the tables that are present in the database. I just have two and I'll add them both. From taxi type, I will just drag this primary key into taxi ID over here, and the taxi ID will become foreign key in my cabs table, and I'll say OK and OK. Now let's go in the my cabs and select edit top 200 rows. And in the taxi ID, I just have two options in the taxi type. Remember, I just have three values, 1, 2, and 3 that I can enter. So I will just enter 1, 2, 3 and 1, 2, 3, whatever order I want to keep it in. So now just imagine that I have 1 million records, and out of them 50,000 records are of hatchback, which would mean that if I am entering that value in the mycaps table, I'll have to enter 50,000 times the word hatchback, which means it will take 50,000 times more of space. And if I include the first normal form in this particular scenario, I just have to give a reference to that particular hatchback which is in taxi type table, which means the record of hatchback, the entry of hatchback is just once over here. The rest is just the reference. I can have an inner join made now to view the data as per my requirement. So with the inner join, you can get a query like this where you will find taxi type as hatchback, sedan or SUV over here. If I use the inner join on my cabs and taxi type. But if you view the my cabs table without the inner join, your taxi ID would show something like this, which would be just a reference to the taxi type table. So I hope you learned something new today about first normal form, the very basic concept of normalization in itself. If you like this video, please don't forget to like, share and subscribe and spread the word. This is Fakhruddin Khambati saying goodbye and take care.